So, direct variation. Tommy said he can tell a direct variation either by the equation or by the graph because direct variations always go through the origin. All right? Now, when we talked about direct variation, I told you that there were really two types of variation. There's direct and inverse variation. One of them was divide, and the other one is multiply. Does anybody remember what direct was?
Multiply.
Yeah.
Divide.
Yeah. Because look, what does direct start with? What does divide start with? That's an easy way to remember it, okay? Now, there was also this thing called the constant of variation. Does anybody remember what letter we used?
Okay.
Yeah, because we always said it was a math person, and they probably thought it started with a K, right? So the constant variation is called your K. In a direct variation, it's going to look like this. K is equal to, direct is divide, so it's Y divided by X. Okay? Now, this is the way I taught it to you, okay? But you know that you can also take this equation right here and solve for Y, multiply both sides by X, and you get Y is equal to KX. Yeah, and look, this is, y'all, all this says is that on a direct variation, the constant of variation is really the what of that line? The slope of that line, okay? And so this is what it's going to look like for a direct variation. All right, so today we're going to talk about inverse variation. Okay, now I already told you that direct variation you divide, inverse variation you multiply. So it's going to be K is equal to, yeah, Y times X. You're multiplying. All right? Now watch this. If you wanted to solve this one for Y, what would you need to do? Divide by X. And so in this one, Y would be equal to K over X. Some number over X. Oh my word. That's a, what kind of function? A rational function. That must be why they put them here, because that's what they make. A rational function. Okay? Now, let me tell you kind of the gist of what's going on with the direct variation and inverse variation. A direct variation is they're related directly. As one increases, the other one will increase. Okay? As one decreases, what's the other one going to do? Decrease. Okay? An inverse variation is just the opposite. As one gets bigger, the other one gets smaller. Okay? Just the opposite. As one gets bigger, the other one gets smaller. Or as one gets smaller, the other one gets... Yeah, that's an inverse variation. And you kind of think, well, there's nothing like that. But there are. There are a lot of things like that. Maybe you just didn't think about them. We're going to talk about one of them today. But I will tell you this, that out in the meal world, okay, and all these meals and stuff, they use a lot of gears and things. Are gears an inverse variation or a direct variation?
Inverse.
Yeah, they're an inverse. The bigger the gear, the faster or slower it goes. The slower it goes. You see what I'm saying? I can make it bigger and make it go slower, or I can make it smaller and make it go faster. Okay? So those are one inverse variation. There's lots of other things like pulleys and things, but here we go. We're going to talk about it. Example number 1. Tell whether X and Y show direct, inverse, or no variation. Okay? So, what are your choices? Very good. Direct, inverse, or no variation at all. So, here's the first one. Don't yell the answer out loud. Just keep it to yourself. You can write it down beside your problem, and then we'll all do it together. XY equals 7. I want to know if it's direct, inverse, or no variation. All right, what do you say?
Inverse.
Very good. What is the constant of variation in this problem?
7.
Very good. All right, here's your next one. Don't say it out loud. Just keep it to yourself. Okay? Direct, inverse, or no variation? Why? It's no variation. Why is it no variation? It doesn't go through the origin, the 0, 0. It has a y-intercept of 3. Okay? So, this is no variation. Alright, here's your next one. Y over 4 is equal to x. Alright, you ready? Direct, inverse, or no variation? Very good. It is direct. Now, the way that people look at this it's different, alright? Some people like to do this. Some people like to multiply both sides by 4 and then say y is equal to 4x. And then they go, oh man, that's a direct variation. Some kids like to solve for that k, that constant of variation, and so in that case you would divide by x, and then you would say 4 is equal to y over x and say, oh, that's divided, so that's a direct variation. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's just however it's easiest for you. Okay? Everybody okay so far? Oh, these aren't hard. Okay, so here's example 2. Here's what it says. X and y vary inversely. Y is equal to 7 when x is equal to 4. Write an equation relating x and y then find y when x equals -2. Okay, so how many answers am I going to have up here? 2. It says write an equation, then find y when x is -2. All right. Inverse variation. What do you do on inverse variation? You multiply. So k is equal to y times x. Everybody agree? K is equal to y times x. So, y'all, all I'm going to do is plug in what I know, find k, and then plug it back in, and that'll be my equation. Okay? So, k is equal to, what's y?
7.
When x is,
4.
so what's 7 times 4?
28.
So, k is equal to 28. Now, here's my question. Is this my equation?
No.
Y'all, that's not an equation that relates to x and y. Okay, that's just what k is equal to. Plug that k back in right here, and that's your equation. 28 is equal to yx. That's my equation. An equation that relates x and y is just going to have an x and a y variable in it. It's not going to have a k in it. Okay? So now I'm going to use this equation. I'm going to find y when x is -2. Alright, so I'm going to say 28 is equal to, I'm looking for y, I don't know it. What's x? -2. Now how do I solve it? And y is equal to? Very good. All right, everybody okay so far?
Would we write about y is equal to, or would we just say negative?
Do what?
Would we say y is equal to?
It doesn't matter. You could write it either way. All right, anybody got a question?
Is there a title to this thing?
Yeah, it's called inverse and joint variation. We're fixing to talk about joint in just a minute. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, this is a real life problem, so it's going to kind of give you an idea of another example besides gears. We said something about gears, okay? But this is maybe something closer to, I don't know, maybe what you deal with. So, I tried to explain it second period, and they all looked at me like I was crazy, so I'll just read it, and you can get it on your own, all right? So, example 3, MP3 players. Everybody knows what they are, right? Okay, so MP3 player. Most of y'all probably have, like, iPods, iPads, iPhones, whatever you put your music on, okay? Does the length of the song affect the number of songs that you can put on there?
Yeah.
Okay, so the longer the song,
So it's inverse.
there you go. That's exactly that's an inverse variation. The longer your songs, the fewer you can put on there. What do you think you can put more of? Children's songs or you guys, you kids songs? Children's songs. I mean, they're all, no, they just repeat the same thing. It's just one song. It's Mary Had a Little Lamb. Row, row, row your boat. Okay?
Yeah, maybe someone's
So,
me now, or maybe they didn't live with the lamb out there.
so that's what this inverse variation is about. The number of songs that can be stored on an MP3 player varies inversely with the average size of the song. A certain MP3 player can store 2,500 songs when the average, now does that mean every song is going to be this long? No, some will be longer, some will be shorter, but the average length of the song is 4 megabytes. Okay? What is that, long or short? I have no earthly idea. 3 minutes? Okay. I would have.
Like download blogs and like see how big they are.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have known. I'd have been like, I don't know, 20 minutes, an hour. I have no earthly idea. Okay. So, let's see. This is the number of songs, okay?
This is really important conversation.
And this is the length of our song, okay? What do you want to call this? What variable? X. Oh. You know what? I'm gonna share something with you, okay? I like to X myself. I'd have probably done that, but I'm gonna share something with you that someone told me. Well, they taught us this at a class we took, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so stupid. But it's really not. And kids that struggle in math, it makes it easier for them. Like if you're talking about boys and girls, instead of calling the boys X and the girls Y, what do they say helps kids out? There you go. Okay? I mean, to me, it's like, I'm like, what difference does it make? But it does make it easier for kids. They relate it better and they see it better. So, what do you want to call this? S? Okay? And I'll be really careful. And you also, if you wanted to, you could do a cursive S. All right? But I'm just going to be really careful because I'm a little like Jody, and my S's start to look like 5s if I'm not careful. Okay? So there's my S. And we're going to call this, what do you want to call it? I did L for length of the song. Okay? And again, I used cursive because if you just do a regular L, it'll look like a 1. All right? So let's write me an equation. What's my equation going to say? K is equal to what? SL. Is that right? It's an inverse variation. Yes, that's right. Come on, believe, people, believe. All right. So K is equal to what? What's the number of songs? 2,500. When the length is what? 4 megabytes. So what is my constant of variation? Yeah, Yes, yes, that's true. But what's it equal to? 10,000. Very good. Okay? So now we're going to write our equation that relates S and L. All right? Oh, S and L. Did y'all get that?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I need more calories.
Very alive. Okay? All right. Yeah, when I said it that time, I said S and L, and I was like, S and L? I know S and L. Saturday Night Live. All right. So, what?
A and B.
What? Oh. C and
What
Y.
7-letter word you add 2 letters to make shorter?
Okay. So, write me an equation. Let's go. We'll play word games in a minute. Write me an equation.
Figure out the short one.
Very good. Okay, now the next thing that they ask us to do is they ask us to make a table. It doesn't need to be this long, guys, okay? It's just a few things. And they want us to make a table, and they want to tell us the length of the song, which is L, all right? And then they want you to tell the number of songs that I can put on my MP3 player, and that is S. Okay, and then they give us the length. Like, what if the length was 2? Or what if it was 2.5? Or, heaven forbid, we made it 3. Now let's make it, uh-oh, I'm going to take that one away. Now let's make it 5. Oh. We're just living life on the edge, people. Okay? Now, here's my question. They're giving me this L, and I'm trying to find S. Could I just take this equation right here and solve it for S and make it a whole lot easier on myself? Yeah. How would I solve it for S?
Divide by L.
Yeah. There you go. Divide by L. And so S is going to be 10,000 divided by L. So 10,000 divided by, what's the length of the songs here? 2. So what's 10,000 over 2? So I can put 5,000 songs on there if, okay, if I don't, if the average length of the song is 2 megabytes. Now look, as these numbers on the top are going up, what should these numbers right here do? All right, that's that inverse variation thing. Okay, so 2.5, what is 10,000 over 2.5?
4,000.
Okay, what is 10,000 over 3? Okay,
3,333. You can't fit a third of a song.
very good. Okay, I can fit a third of a song, but it's not a song, is it? It's a third of a song. Okay, now let me ask you this. What if it happened to be 3,333.9? Would I round that up or leave it as a 3? Very good. 9/10 of a song is not a song. Okay? All right. What's 10,000? What's 10,000 over 5? 2,000. Okay, so these numbers went up, these numbers went down. Perfect. Anybody got a question? No? Yes. Can you look at your test? Well, no, I'm teaching class right now. Well, if we have time. Good night. All right, so let's do this one. This is the last one. Remember I said this section was about inverse and joint variation. Okay? I like joint variation the best because I think it's easier. All right, joint variation is when a quantity varies directly with the product. What does that mean? When you what? Very good. With the product of 2 or more, this one might have an X and a Y. PQM, LTZ, what? I mean 2 or more. Alright, we could put as many as we wanted in there. 2 or more quantities. Alright, now I'm just going to share something with you on this one. I do a joint variation totally different than we do the other variations. The direct and the inverse. Alright, K is equal to Y times X or Y divided by X, right? A joint variation, they're gonna state a letter first, okay? And then we're gonna write that letter down and then write the rest of the statement down. It's gonna be a little differently. So I'm gonna tell you that on a joint variation, this is just my little notes to myself. An inverse, which is normally a what? Multiply. An inverse on a joint is divide. Okay? And the reason is because we're not putting the K all by itself. We're sticking the K in the problem. So that's why it's going to be a little different. Okay, so here we go. Z varies, yes, Z varies jointly with X and Y. Okay? Z varies jointly with X and Y. Okay, so the first time, anytime I see this word jointly, then this is when I'm going to write it differently. I'm not going to say K is equal to. You can, but I think it's easier to do it this other way. Alright, when it says jointly, you see this little letter that's off here by himself? I write him down. Z is equal to, and then I put a K. And then whatever these other letters are, I write them down. That's pretty easy, isn't it? That's not bad. Alright, so you ready for another one? Here's another one. P varies jointly with Q, R, and the square of S. Okay, so you do that one. See if you can write that one down.
I hate Q's because I always automatically write a U behind it.
Oh. Alright, so what do I write down? P equals, okay, hang on just a sec, my little pen, of course it quit. It's important. No, P equals. P equals K, Q, R, S squared. Okay? Now, you don't have to put that in parentheses. You can just write it KQRS squared. Now, here was the mistake that I've seen this morning, okay? Instead of doing S squared, what did some of the kids do? The square root of S, okay? So be careful, because did you see the word root in here? Alright, so don't take a square root or a cube root or anything. Alright, so let's do another example. This is example 6, the last one we're going to do. Here is the A part. Y, this is all of them kind of thrown in together. Y varies inversely with X. Y varies inversely with X. See if you can write it down. Okay, what'd you write? Y'all look, this is not a joint one, so I'm not writing that Y down first. It's the inverse. Inverse, multiply or divide? Multiply. So I'm just writing K is equal to Y times X. That's all I'm doing. Alright? The only time I write this down separately is when it says jointly. Here's the next one. You ready? Z varies jointly with X, Y, and R. Okay, this is a joint one, so what would you write? Very good. Don't forget to put the K in there, okay? It won't be right if you don't put the K. Here's the next one. Y varies inversely with the square of X. Okay, what'd you write?
K equal to Y squared.
Very good. Alright. What about this one? Z varies directly with Y and inversely with X.
So that would be
Don't say it out loud. Okay, y'all got it? Alright, what did y'all write?
I wrote
YK is equal to XZ.
K equals Z over Y and then multiply it by X. Okay? Inversely is a multiplication, directly is a division. So you divided this Z by this one and you multiplied him by this
Is
one.
it okay if we
Okay.
divide it over and that's the Y with the K?
Yes? Some kids will write it that way.
Equal to
YK is equal to XZ. That's the same thing.
Okay.
Alright? Whichever way you see it best. Alright, last one. You ready? X varies jointly with T and R and inversely with S. Okay, you ready? This is a joint variation. That's the way I'm going to write it. It's just the way my brain thinks. Not the only way to do it, guys. Some of y'all might do it differently. But I'm going to say X is equal to K. And if he's jointly with T and R, then it's KTR, right? Inversely with S, so remember what I wrote at the end of that thing. Very good. Okay? Now, some of the kids, they did this one like this. XS equals KTR. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. That's the same thing. It's the same thing.
I
All right.
like not creating two levels because that's just more complicated.
Okay. So, all right, we have 15 minutes left. I'm going to do something with you. So, I want you to put everything off your desk. I don't want to see your phone. I want it put away. Oh, yeah, thanks, Abby.